Namayo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasyatyade Satarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my humble obeisances to you all. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with our Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 10. Bhagavatam is the answer for all questions. And today's verse is 45. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you. I'll share my screen again.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Maharaj, you can please take over whenever you're ready.
This purport is very long,
Yes, Maharaj.
so listen up. Nasta karmani jamado pariyasyanuvidyate kartribha pratisedartam mayaya ropitam hitat. Listen very carefully to this translation. There is no direct engineering by the Lord for the creation and destruction of the material world. There is no direct engineering by the Lord for the creation and destruction of the material world. What is described in the Vedas about his direct interference is simply to counteract the idea that material nature is the creators is a very ambiguous statement, but at the same time, very clear. The Vedic direction for creation and maintenance and destruction of the material world is this: Yatova iman bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, ya prayant ya visam vishanti. That is, everything is created by Brahman. After creation, everything is maintained by Brahman. And after annihilation, everything is conserved in Brahman. Gross materialists without any knowledge of Brahman, Paramatman, or Bhagavan conclude material nature to be the ultimate cause of the material manifestation. And the modern scientists also share this view that the material nature is the ultimate cause of all manifestations of the material world. This view is refuted by all Vedic literature. The Vedanta philosophy mentions that Brahman is the fountainhead of all creation, maintenance, and destruction. And Srimad Bhagavatam, the natural commentation on the Vedanta philosophy, says, Janmad yasyad yata nyavad nitaras charitus abhinyas swarat. That is from the first verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Inert matter is undoubtedly energy with potential to interact, but it has no initiative of its own. Very important statement. Inert matter is undoubtedly energy with potential to interact, but it has no initiative of its own. Srimad Bhagavatar therefore comments on the aphorism Janmad Yasyas by saying, Abhigya Sarat, that is, the Supreme Brahman is not inert matter, but he is the supreme consciousness and is independent. Therefore, inert matter cannot be the ultimate cause of creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world. Superficially, material nature appears to be the cause of creation, maintenance, and destruction. But material nature is set into motion for creation by the Supreme Being, the personality of Godhead. He is the background of all creation, maintenance, and destruction. And this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:10. Mayadakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagat vivartante. The material nature is one of the energies of the Lord, and she can work under the direction of the Lord. Abhyaksena. When the Lord throws his transcendental glance over material nature, then only can material nature act as a father contacts the mother, who is then able to conceive a child. Although it appears to the layman that the mother gives birth to the child, the experienced man knows that the father gives birth to the child. The material nature therefore produces the moving and standing manifestations of the material world after being contacted by the Supreme Father and not independently. Considering material nature to be the cause of creation, maintenance, etc., is called the logic of nipples on the neck of a goat. The Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami describes this logic of Ajagala Sthananya as follows, and explained by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Material nature, as the material cause, is known as pradhan, and as the efficient cause, it is known as maya. But since it is in matter, is not the remote cause of creation. Kaviraj Goswami states as follows: Ateva Krishna Mula Jagat Karana Prakriti Karana Yache Ajagali Stan. Because Karanaranavaya C. Vishnu is a plenary expansion of Krishna, it is he who electrifies the matter to put it into motion. The example of electrification is quite appropriate. A piece of iron is certainly not fire, but when the iron is made red hot, certainly it has the quality of fire through its burning capacity. Matter is compared to the piece of iron, and it is electrified or made red hot by the glance or manipulation of the supreme consciousness of Vishnu. Only by such electrification is the energy of matter displayed in various actions and reactions. Therefore, the inert matter is neither efficient nor the material cause of the cosmic manifestation. Kapila Dev has said, Yato mukam visplulingam dumavahasva sambhavat apya atma tvanabhinmatad yatagni pritag umukat. The original fire, its flame, its spark, and its smoke are all one. For fire is still fire, yet is different from flame. Flame is different from sparks, and sparks are different from smoke. If every one of them, namely in the flames, in the spark, and in the smoke, the integrity of fire is present. Yet all of them are differently situated with different positions. The cosmic manifestation is compared to the smoke, because when smoke passes over the sky, so many forms appear, resembling known and unknown manifestations. The sparks are compared to the living entities, and the flames are compared to material nature, pradhana. One must know that each and every one of them is effective simply because of being empowered by the quality of the original fire. Therefore, all of them, namely the material nature, the cosmic manifestation, and the living entities, are but different energies of the Lord, fire. Therefore, those who accept the material nature as the cosmic manifestation's original called Prakriti, the cause of creation, are not correct in their conclusion. The material nature has no separate existence without the Lord. Therefore, setting aside the Supreme Lord as the cause of all causes is the logic of Ajja Gala Sthananya, or trying to milk the nipples on the neck of a goat. The nipples on the neck of a goat may seem like sources of milk, but to try to get milk from such nipples will be foolish. Om Agyan Timidandasya Gena Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Bena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Staptitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dadati Swam Padamtikam. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gauda Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're all sitting in front of our computer, and the computer can do so many moves, so many operations. And it looks like the computer is doing so many things. But then again, you have to understand that you are the operator. Because you are the operator, the computer is working. The computer is designed by someone, and at the same time, the operator makes that design into action, interaction, reaction. So many things are happening, but without the initial touch of a living being, the computer just sits on your table, cannot do anything. Even if it's done by remote control, still there is somebody operating the remote control. So in all cases, we have to see that material nature looks like it's moving, acting, interacting, and even producing. But it is simply a nice computer that has been designed by the designer, who is the source of all existence, the Supreme Brahman himself, or the personality of Godhead. And he cannot be seen, but at the same time, we can see him through the interaction of what he has created. And that way we can see Krishna through the interactions of material nature. But behind material nature, there is always some living being. The materialists, the scientists, the plan makers, the gross thinkers see and study the interactions of the material nature and actually become amazed to see how material nature is acting. But it is just like a very highly developed computer, which can do so many things, but at the same time, it has a source and an operator at the same time. So in the same way, this material creation, behind all of its phenomena of interaction, there is a personality behind that. And as it says here, that personality is the supreme source of everything. And that is the personality of Godhead. And here it also explains in Bhagavad Gita that material nature cannot work unless it is working according to the plan of the Supreme Lord. So sometimes people say, well, if everything is working according to the plan of the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord is good, why there are so many bad things happening? So that means the operator is he's deficient.
Hare Krishna. It looks like there is a power cut on Maharaj's side. Oh, Maharaj has dropped the call. Okay, we have to wait for him. Krishna. Krishna. Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna. Ananya Mataji, you have raised your hand.
Oh, sorry, Mataji.
No problem. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare. Hare Hare.
Where did I leave off?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You were talking about the creator and um,
I was mentioning that even though the Lord creates everything, there seems to be some
yeah,
disharmony in the
yes, Maharaj, yeah.
creation.
Bad things happening in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but that is also part of the creation because the living entities are also active. And because they are active, they do not accept the creation as designed by the Creator. And therefore, they try to use the creation in a way that it's not intended. And therefore, when they do that, the creation works as a corrective agency rather than a supplying agency, or in some cases, a punishing agency. And therefore, there is so much disharmony and calamity because of interference with God's natural plan. And the natural plan is always perfect, but the living entities fail to recognize it or even accept it and try to make their own plan and by enjoying the material energy separate from the source. And therefore, there is calamity. That calamity is a reaction for wrong actions, as punishment by the state is an action to punish those who deviate from the law. So, in the same way, although Krishna has created everything perfectly and it works according to his desire, still the living entities have their independence. You have your computer sitting in front of you, but if you try to use your computer as a stand to put your books on, you might find the computer is not working according to the way it's supposed to work. And in other words, if you use something in a way that it's not intended, it gives a different result. And that is why the living entities in the material world suffer so much, because they don't know the purpose of life, nor the purpose of the material energy by which they are constantly in contact with. Therefore, when we align ourselves with the desire of the Lord and live according to that desire and use the material energy as an opportunity to serve the Lord rather than being an opportunity for one's own personal sense gratification, then the material energy supports the living entity in all respects, and the living entity can live happily without calamities or disease or suffering within the material energy. So, but behind the whole process is the strategy of the Lord who designed the whole thing in a certain way. Therefore, according to this statement here, you can go back to the translation. There is no direct engineering by the Lord for the creation and destruction of the material world. What is described in the Vedas about his direct is simply to counteract the idea that material nature is the creator. So he puts it together, but he's not involved in the activities of the happiness and distress that the living entities undergo in their activities within the material nature. He says that in Bhagavad Gita, I am not the cause of anyone's happiness and distress. We choose to accept happiness and distress by our right or wrong decisions. And we make wrong decisions, we get distress. We make right decisions, we live freely, and material energy supports everything that we need and do. So all of this is the perfect design of the Lord. And the statement here is just to show that material energy is not independent, but it appears to be. That's the problem. Appearance is not necessarily the reality of what you see. You can see the sun, but you can't understand that it's 93 million miles away. It looks like it's like a little ball floating in the sky. But how can you actually see? We can't even see what's in front of us sometimes. We mistake things for something other than what it actually is. For instance, you can't even see your own eyelid, which is in front of your eyes every minute, but it's there. So seeing is not the reality, but that's the way the materialists conclude all of their theories, by seeing, using their eyes, using telescopes and other kinds of instruments to see beyond the range of their senses. But this seeing is faulty. And there's so many examples of faulty seeing, which causes people to act and think differently than the reality. Scientific theories are based on seeing, but then they throw out that scientific theory and create a new one after some time because somebody sees something else, which is also another faulty theory. Therefore, we take the words of the Shastras, the words of the Acharyas, that Everything is working under the guidance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And sometimes the Lord will intervene in material nature just to make it different. For instance, when the Battle of Kurukshetra was in the Pandavas could never win that war. They were both outnumbered, and on the opposite side were invincible fighters, Dronacharya, Karna, and Bhishma. Nobody could defeat them. And there was Arjuna on the Pandava side. But Krishna was a friend of Arjuna, and he also wanted the Pandavas to win. But in the fight, you can see, if you study the text very carefully and hear the commentaries, you'll find that Krishna, every once in a while, used his mystic power to create a situation different. And so ultimately, the Pandavas would be victorious. So Krishna was there. If it wasn't for Krishna, the Pandavas would have never won that war. Never. Even though Krishna didn't fight, he was fighting behind the scenes with his mystic power. When he created the false situation, when Arjuna decided to kill Jayadratha, or if he failed to kill Jayadratha, he was going to enter into the fire and give up his life. The Kauravas put Jayadratha 28 miles away from the main part of the battlefield and surrounded him with the greatest of all generals. Krishna was on the chariot and he told Arjuna, just keep fighting and head towards Jayadratha. But the sun was going down, and when the sun goes down, the fighting stops. But at one point, it looked like the sun had already gone down, and the Kauravas all together in an uproarious mood created, now Arjuna will have to enter into the fire. They were all happy because they knew as long as Arjuna was on the sun, they could not win this battle. But Krishna had covered the sun with his mystic power. And then he told Arjuna, now kill Jayadratha, because they let down the guard of Jayadratha when the sun went down. So Arjuna did that. And he killed Jayadratha. The Kauravas were shocked that he had broken religious principles. But then Krishna removed his mystic power to show that the sun was still over the horizon. So that was an example how he saved Arjuna from entering into the fire. And the next day, when the Kauravas wanted to fight, they were really angry how things happened that on the 14th day of the battle. So on the 15th day, they fought beyond sunset and they were fighting into the night. And it looks like Karna, Dronacharya, Duryodhana, and others were cutting through the ranks of the Pandavas. But then Krishna told Bhima to call his son Godakach. Godakach was born from Hidimbi, who was a Rakshasa in Bhima. And he was extraordinarily powerful, and he was also a mystic. And when he went onto the battlefield, the Kauravas were shocked. He was so fast, invisible, changing forms, and destroying the Pandava army the Kaurava army by thousands. Duryodhana was besides himself, thinking what to do. So Karna was the only one that could stop him. And Karna had the Vasavi weapon, which was given to him by Indra. He traded his armor, his shield, personal armor that he was built with, for this weapon. And he wanted to use this weapon to kill Arjuna. And Krishna knew as long as Karna had that weapon, Arjuna would have been, there's no chance Arjuna would survive. So with Godakach fighting and destroying, it seemed like there was no other alternative than to use the Vasavi weapon against Gotakacha. And even Duryodhana agreed to it. Karna was besides himself because he was planning every day to kill Arjuna with that weapon. And the Kauravas at night, they were always discussing, now, Karna, you use that weapon against Arjuna. Once Arjuna is killed, the war is over and we are victorious. But every time they went out on the battlefield, Krishna made them forget, or Krishna made Karna forget his desire to kill Arjuna on that day. So Krishna was working behind the scenes to create all kinds of illusions and change things around by his mystic power. And when it came, finally, Karna, he knew that if he shot this, because this weapon can only be used once, and once it was used, it would return to Indra in the heavenly planets. So he used that weapon. He killed Gotakacha, and which was practically impossible. He was smashing thousands of soldiers in the Kaurava army. And when he died, he was so big that when he fell onto the ground, he smashed the whole Aksahini division of soldiers and wiped out one whole battalion of soldiers. Bhima was crying, Arjuna was lamenting, Yudhisthira was besides himself, but Krishna was dancing. And when Arjuna saw Krishna dancing, he says, Krishna, why are you celebrating? Gotakacha is now killed. Krishna said, then he explained, now Arjuna will live. And because of that, Arjuna will be victorious in this battle. So the behind the whole scene was Krishna. So what does this say? That Krishna is always there for his devotee. One who is dedicated to serving Krishna, their life is perfect. They cannot be overcome by anything or anyone, because Krishna is there to protect his devotee, to glorify his devotee, to give victory to his devotee in all respect. Not necessarily on a battlefield, but on the battlefield of life, which is the battlefield to overcome the material energy and our desires to enjoy that material energy, and to come to the platform of pure devotional service, which qualifies us to go back home, back to the spiritual world. So that's Krishna. So don't ever give up on Krishna, because he's always with you. Stay dedicated in devotional service. Use whatever Krishna has given you in devotional service, and realize that whatever is happening is ultimately leading to success in your devotional service. There may be challenges, there may be failures, there may be letdowns, but one will never be, what we say, overcome by the material energy if they stay fixed in their devotional service to Krishna, either from the external forces of Maya or by one's own internal desires to enjoy separately. This is Krishna. And these examples on how Krishna worked behind the scenes to support the Pandavas, even though the Pandavas didn't have any chance. There was no way they could win that war. But because of Krishna being there, he made it happen. And on the 18th day after the battle, Karna, of course, Karna was killed later by Arjuna, and that's another story. But Karna could not be killed by Arjuna. It was not possible. But Krishna arranged it, and therefore sometimes they say Krishna was tricky. Kuntiya pratijanihi name bhakta pranasyati. That the one Krishna always favors his devotee in all situations. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Such a wonderful class, and a nice analogy in the beginning and about the computer, and later the story of Mahabharata. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Dear devotees, please turn on your cameras if possible, and you can ask your questions by raising your hand or typing in the chat window. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. As you were relating to us the events and happenings of Mahabharat, I was just thinking this is like such a wonderful real life story that we can just hear again and again and again, and how inspiring it is to hear about Krishna protecting his devotee at every twist and turn. So I'm very happy to hear this, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hari Hari. Yeah, it's enlivening to see how wonderful Krishna is. He never lets his devotees overcome.
Thank you, Mataji. Amritanam Mataji.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Guru Maharaj, as you rightfully mentioned, that Krishna have plans for all of us, and we should know what his plan is for us. So my question is, how do you know Krishna's plan for us? Because if we are not according to his plans, we are meant to get diverted. And
yeah. So ultimately, his plan is to bring us back to his lotus feet in loving devotional service. That's his plan. How he executes that plan may be different from person to person. And how that person gets to know Krishna's plan is by getting that knowledge from the spiritual master, getting that knowledge from Krishna through Shastra. So that knowledge is available. What is Krishna's plan for me? We know the ultimate plan, but how to deal with our present situation so we move forward towards that ultimate plan and not be defeated by the situations that we face in life. So it's the spiritual master, ultimately, that is the person to give us the understanding of what Krishna expects from you in terms of how you move from where you are to where you should be, or where you ultimately will find perfection in your life. So that's why the spiritual master is there.
thank you, Guru Maharaj. So those who don't have spiritual masters or who are not recognizing their guru are still on a hopeless path. That
Well, they
can
take shelter.
be-
They take shelter of those who cannot give the guidance needed. They go for fallible soldiers. They also may look for help, but if they don't get help from the authority that is qualified, then their help will also be their defeat.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, I tried to call you today, but you didn't pick up the phone.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I was in my Rajbhog service, so phone was not allowed there, so I couldn't see the.
We'll talk later. Maybe
Okay, Guru Maharaj.
tomorrow is better, I think.
No problem, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. We have any more
Sridevi
questions?
Mataji has raised again. Mataji.
I wanted to share, Maharaj, exactly what Amrita Nam was saying. This is the first question I ever asked of you, Penn State, November 13, 2001. How will I know what is God's plan for my life? And in that lecture, you answered through the spiritual master.
Yeah, how do we know anything? We take the words of Srila Prabhupada and we live according to their words. We try to understand them. We try to understand how to apply them in our day-to-day life. And when we get confused in the application, we also question the spiritual master for knowledge of application along with the knowledge of the activity.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Spiritual master wants you to make you independently intelligent so you can understand his instructions and learn how to apply them without having to ask every time you find a situation. Otherwise, we won't grow in our spiritual life if we always become confused or overwhelmed by external situations. The idea is to make devotees qualified so they can make progress in their Krishna consciousness by imbibing spiritual masters' instructions, learning how to apply them in different situations. That's why if we hear regularly, that's why we're having this class every day, to get a chance to hear regularly, both from Shastra and from Guru and from Krishna also. We start understanding how things work and how do we fit into the bigger picture also. I use the example today to show all of you that the computer is not simply operating by itself. It's manufactured by a certain person and it operates under the guise of a person. Although when you look at it, it does phenomenal things, but still there's an operator there. So everything is under the control of the operator who sets up the system. Now you have to learn the knowledge by which you deal with that system so you don't get trapped with the wrong understanding or the wrong activity. And that is what it means. We want to make devotees intelligent so they can execute their devotional service.
Mataji, hope that helps, Mataji. So, thank you, Maharaj. We have two questions by Parijata Mataji. She has put on chat. I'll just read first question. If the Lord does not actually perform any material actions, then how should we understand his pastimes like creating the universe, appearing in different incarnations, and protecting his devotees? Is it he who does it personally or assigns his energy to do it?
Well, you're mixing spiritual material in that question. When it comes to creation, it's described here that he energizes the material energy initially. The pradhan is what we see the aggregate of the material energy when he glances over it with his powerful glance, which includes the time factor, the living entities, and Lord Shiva. Then it activates and becomes the Maya energy. And Maya is formulated by Brahma. Brahma is the secondary creator. So he energizes it. He also designs it and gives that design in terms of the knowledge of that design to his original creator, Brahma, who understands it through his power of meditation and puts all of the living entities in different bodies and creates the different forms according to their karma in the last creation. Now, when it comes to his incarnations, that is directly under the spiritual energy, has nothing to do with the material energy at all. So he does through his will also. Parasya Shakti Vidhaya Suyate Swabhavika Jnana Kalapriya Cha. He manifests himself in different forms for different purposes according to the time, place, and circumstance, both material and for his own spiritual enjoyment. When he comes as Krishna in the material world, that is not anything to do with the material world. That is his descent to uplift the conditioned souls. That's all. No, but what I was saying, and what is the main principle of our discussion today, is that Krishna puts the material energy in working and accordingly, and it works according to his desire. And the living entities have a choice to accept the plan of the Lord or to work differently of the plan of the Lord. And therefore, their suffering and enjoyment come by way of the living entities' choice on how to interact with the material energy. But Krishna does nothing. But when it comes to his devotee, then when the devotee is in need, Krishna is there through his energies to help the devotee. He protects his devotees. I gave the example of the Battle of Kurukshetra, how he protected Arjuna. So, but his protection wasn't direct. It was through his mystic powers. So in the same way, he uses his energies to protect the devotee in the material world. When the devotees seek his protection, that's also important. Is that clear?
Parijat Mataji?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj. This is much clearer now. I had some confusion, but now it's okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So Maharaj, when suppose the living entities are not using the material world properly, and how does the Lord tolerate, like a merciful Father?
You mean the materialists or the devotees?
Yeah, the materialists, or the general living entities who are exploiting this world, this
Yeah,
material.
then they get suffering.
Mm.
They get disappointment. They get various types of disease. Disease is an anomaly when one is acting inordinate according to the laws of material nature. Various types of unfulfilled desires. And then when there's so much misuse of the material energy, then there's calamities such as, pestilence, war, various types of suffering imposed upon the living entity due to their desire to enjoy separately. And when it becomes, collectively, and everyone is disobeying the Lord, then there's calamities everywhere.
Yeah. So is this from his energies, or he's not doing anything personally, right, Maharaj?
That's
Through his
through
own
his energies. That's
energies.
through his energy.
Mm. Okay, got it. Thank you, Maharaj. Raj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, my question is, as you told that Krishna has a plan for all of us. So the suffering which comes in devotee's life, is it just his karma, or it also includes some plan, Krishna's plan? It is also part of some plan of Krishna. And in addition to that, Maharaj,
Yes, that question has been asked hundreds of times, and the same answer is given each time. Don't worry about it, whether it's Krishna's plan or the material energy. Simply try to get back on track, that's all. Don't try to find out who's punishing you. Ultimately, it's Krishna through the material energy, but then again, some are direct and some is less direct. It's like saying, here I am drowning, and I want to know why. Did I drown because somebody pushed me in the water, or did I drown because I wasn't swimming right? It doesn't matter, you're drowning. Get out of the drowning situation.
Maharaj, you also talked about not giving up on Krishna. So when someone is going through suffering, especially when someone is going through some conflict with a devotee who was very close. So this is something which I am going through right now. So it weakens your faith on the process and Krishna. How does one keep up with the process in such conflicts?
Well, you have to see whether that person is acting according to religious principles or acting according to his own selfish desires. If he's there to correct you, that's one thing. If he's there just to give you a difficulty in the name of trying to correct you, that's another thing. You have to understand how it's happening. And then you might say, well, how do I accept it? If you don't want to deal with it, you can accept it either as Krishna's arrangement to purify you, or some residue of past karma that is now being played out. Krishna will never put you in a situation where you can't do devotional service. That's for sure. He never allows that to happen where the devotee is unable to serve. So again, I'll work with the situation. When it comes to an individual, then we have to deal with the individual on that level. You have to see what is happening, why it's happening, or try to understand why it's happening, and either accept it as a way of purification, learn from it as a way to grow in spiritual life, see it as Krishna's arrangement for you to give up certain bad habits that may be stopping you from your progress in devotional service. A little introspection, a little advice from senior devotees, specifically about what is happening, how it's happening, why it's happening. All of these things can be understood. And generally, the person who is doing it is simply an instrument and not necessarily the cause of what's happening to you. The cause may become because of your own activities, but you're seeing the cause as being that person. So the dynamics of that are very complex, so you have to deal with it. So to make it easy, we learn how to forgive another person and then go on. We learn how to forgive another person and then not forget what is happening so we don't fall into that situation again. Or the last option is to try to ameliorate the situation by a discussion with the person involved.
Okay, hope that helps. Yeah, your question.
I gave you a lot. You're gonna have to choose now. Which you think. Ultimately, you can't blame that person. You have to see why is it happening to me and what is the reason behind it. Is it? And generally, devotees will accept it as an opportunity to become more intelligent, more detached, more devoted, or ultimately more dependent on Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Raj, are you still there?
Yeah, Raj Prabhu.
Yes, Maharaj.
You want to comment on what I said?
Yes, Maharaj.
Do you want to comment?
I think yes, Maharaj. I think I need more discussion with some senior devotee to come up with specific solutions, and all the points you suggested. Uh, yes, they work. Maharaj. They'll work.
If you can do it yourself, that's one way. But if you can't, then you can get advice.
Hare.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Balwan Nitai Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Jai Sri Nityananda. Fascinating talk or discussion this morning. The Lord's plan for my existence is a feature of my life that I just have never considered. And now that now that I'm retroactively interpreting my life, sometimes I interpret it as when the things that have happened to me in my life are actually Krishna sheltering me. And the idea of asking what the plan for my life is, I just have never considered. And the idea that, Guru Maharaj, is there a plan for my life that isn't just, worshiping and loving the Lord, serving him?
Well, as I mentioned, Krishna's plan for everyone is for everyone to come back to him in devotional service, pure devotional service. Where you are now and how to get to that position of success is the spiritual master's guidance in a practical, doable way in terms of how to serve, what mood to serve in. Yeah, so don't try to overthink this and try to figure it out. All you can understand is that ultimately there is a blueprint for getting you from where you are to where Krishna wants you to be, where you also want to be. That is under his complete shelter and loving devotional service. That is the goal of Krishna consciousness. There's no second goal. That goal is for everyone. The same. Krishna comes to the material world to invite the devotees to come back to him in loving devotional service. He sends his representatives. He sends knowledge in the form of books. He sends prasadam also to inspire us. He sends calamities when we need them. Whatever it is, Krishna is bringing us back to him. So how you accept things that come to you or how you become proactive in executing your devotional service can be understood by the instructions given by the spiritual master and by Krishna through the Shastra. That's a general statement, that's all. Specifically, then you have to talk to the spiritual master and say, this is what's going on. What do I do? How do I deal with this? How do I move forward? What's my service? All of that. And of course, the spiritual master puts the devotee under the care of his representative, the temple president, in most cases. And that person is the person you can also go to. You're very fortunate. You have a very highly qualified temple president. Very fortunate. Not so many people have such what we say, qualified shelter in the immediate area.
Truly wonderful. Yes. No, I have no, couldn't be more fortunate in terms of Yuvaldas,
Yeah.
who I speak to regularly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so ask questions, get clarifications.
I do have a couple of ongoing issues. Could I write you a letter, Guru Maharaj?
Yeah, yeah. But I would have also suggest you go first to your temple president and see what he says. And if he says, go ahead and write to Maharaj, then you can do that. He may be able to help you right there.
Yes. And he has so many times. So.
Yeah, he's one of the more qualified persons for leadership. He's qualified to he is actually acting in the capacity of a guru.
No question about that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'll do that. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
You
Hare
can
Krishna.
also write me if you want.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
you. Sridevi Mataji.
Thank you, Shrimati. Dear Guru Maharaj, this question of Raj Prabhu is also, resonating with me a little bit. I've been thinking about this, that when someone is harsh with us or insults us or pushes us or shoves us and so on, we can think like this, and please correct me if this thinking is correct. See, whatever is happening to my body, and my body doesn't belong to me, it belongs to Krishna. So whatever Krishna desires, let it happen. Why should I fight? Why should I protest? Why should I do anything? Krishna is seeing everything. And so if this person is misbehaving with my body, it's between him and Krishna. Should we think like this and just not protest or not, or carry on without making any noise about it?
If you're able to carry on, fine. But if you're not able to carry on, then you have to deal with the situation so you can carry on. Can you carry on without being, what we say, affected? Are you that transcendental? Are you that, what we said? Yeah.
No, I'm just sort of thinking aloud these things, that ultimately whatever we have, it is Krishna's property. So if someone messes with it, it is.
Yeah. Everybody, that is a general principle of reality. That's true. But then again, how are you going to respond? If you respond the way you just described, that's good. But can you respond like that? That's my question. Or are you just hypothetically just putting a situation in form of a question?
I'm trying to come around to this because I'm seeing that if I keep reacting, the only person who's upset is me.
Yeah, so therefore, you might say that that might be the best course to deal with. But if someone is exploiting you and it's causing you difficulties, then you have to somehow distance yourself or correct that situation so that exploitation doesn't continue. Bad for them and it's bad for you. You have to see what is the severity of the situation.
I see. Okay, maybe I'll write a little bit more, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
yes,
you.
good question.
Yeah, we have a question by Parijata Mataji, second question. Can we say that this verse is the Bhagavatam's direct philosophical rebuttal to the Mayavadi misinterpretation of Vedanta Sutra? And also, does this verse tell about the Srimad Bhagavatam's consistent effort to show that the absolute truth is a person and not an abstract light or void?
The second part is absolutely correct. Yeah, the Srimad Bhagavatam is showing that behind everything there is a personality who is the cause of all causes, sarva karana karana. The first part is that is it an expression of the Mayavadi philosophy? The verse itself? Well, that's how the Mayavadis think, that the living entity is also part of the material energy, but that living entity has been thrown into material energy and they can't explain why. But now they say that getting out of the material energy becomes the process of becoming the supreme itself. Their philosophy, or so-called philosophy, is that you become God. And then you're free, then you're liberated, then you have reached perfection. That's why they call them, Mayavadi means those who worship Maya.
Parijata Mataji, you want to comment?
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I actually had an argument with someone last month. So this so-called yogi, or you can say an important person here, he was arguing with me, and then he was saying that you don't have to worship any form because a Lord's form is a Maya. So what I understand here is that the form is not Maya. The form is actually the source of this Maya energy. So
Right.
their view is the form is Maya, and our view is that Maya, the energy, the form is the source of the Maya, the energy. So this is what I'm trying to. No, I think I understand now what that means and how to
Yeah,
counteract.
that's why they're called Mayavadis, because they think that Krishna's form is Maya, or any of the forms of God are of the material energy. That's because they say that ultimately the Supreme is formless.
Yes,
So
Guru Maharaj. And
any form is just an indication of Maya to them. Even if they worship the deity, they think the deity is just an object for worship, so they can go beyond the deity into the unmanifested aspect of the Supreme. So they accept forms for worship, but they also think those forms are simply necessary to go beyond the form. They chant the holy name to go beyond the holy name. So they may also act similar, but their consciousness is spoiled by thinking that the spiritual forms are actually material.
yes, Guru Maharaj. And I feel this is so beautiful as we are, reading and contemplating and, delving deep into the philosophy. This is so beautiful because here we read that he's the Akarta. He's a non-doer and he doesn't have to do much. It's like, in simple words, it's like when for example, the president of India, she doesn't have to do anything. But how nice it is that president of India would come to my house for lunch, you know and God here, he doesn't have to directly do everything. He has his energies, different departments assigned to different demigods and everything he have to do. But for the devotee, he comes himself. It's so
Right.
special.
Yeah.
It's so special. That's why I just love this fact that he himself comes. For everything else, he's just assigned everyone, all the devtas, the Maya energy. And this is why I think the process is so precious. We should hold
Because
on to it.
the devotees are interested in him personally. He's interested in the devotees because the non-devotees are not interested in him. They're interested in his energy. So therefore, he deals with them through the energy.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Yes.
As you approach me, I reward you accordingly. If you approach Krishna in devotion, he's with you, and to reciprocate that devotion.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Mataji.
Ready.
Sakshi, Sakshi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Guru Maharaj, just extending on what Sridevi Mataji just asked you, and to which you replied that if someone is causing suffering to us, then then we can bring that to discussion. But then I was reading Bhagavatam, first canto, and 17th chapter, Punishment and the Reward of Kali, where Parikshit Maharaj asked the Dharma that what is the cause of his suffering. Then he replied that he wasn't informing Maharaj Parikshit about the perpetuator, because then he said if he would inform him, then the same destination which the perpetuator would be having I would be having that too, something like that. So
Yeah, the
yeah,
same destination for the perpetrator is happening to one who identifies the perpetrator.
yes. So if someone is
Therefore,
causing suffering to us, what do
Prabhupada used to say, don't blame the instrument of your karma. It's simply an instrument coming to give you what you deserve or something that you need. See it in different, you can see it in different ways. Yeah, that's the ultimate principle.
we? So Guru Maharaj, if someone
But
is causing suffering,
yeah, but at the same time, the perpetrator of the act should also be punished. And they will be punished because they're put in that position to do that, and therefore they have to also be punished for their activities. Just like if the criminal does something and he steals something from your house, you might say, well, I deserve it, but still he's a criminal and therefore he's punished also. But to blame him for what's happening to you is ultimately not seeing the whole picture. But still, there is jurisprudence and there is justice for those who act wrongly. It says that those who give trouble to others suffer more than the person that they give trouble to. So you don't have to do anything, they will be punished anyway by the laws of material nature, or in some case by the laws of the state.
so Guru Maharaj, in the example which you shared, like if someone comes to my house and steals something, so should we not bring that thing up before the?
You didn't hear anything I just said. I just said that person is punishable. I had said that. I mean, didn't you hear that?
I did, but I just wanted this clarification. Should we go to the authorities to address that this person has done something?
That's up to you.
Okay.
That you decide yourself.
Mm,
But whether they are punishable by the authorities, they're still punishable because they're acting wrongly.
mm,
They'll be punished by
mm,
material energy. Point is, we're not
mm,
talking about how you see it in terms of yourself. You blame that person or you understand that there's something that came to you. Why does it come to you? Because you deserved it. Why do you deserve it? Then you have to figure it out. But then again, there's other situations. I mean, material nature is so complicated and so complex, and personal interaction is so diverse also. To come to the understanding is to learn how to be humble and tolerant in different situations, but act in the right way also. Not simply to be humble and tolerant, but learn how to act in such a way that you understand how to take the situation that's happening to you and turn it into something beneficial. People go to jail and I preach in jail. They say, if I wasn't the fact that I went to jail, I would never met the devotees and practice Krishna consciousness. So going to jail is not something that people look forward to. But when they see it in a bigger picture, they saw that jail situation was the success of their life. They came in contact with Krishna consciousness. You can't always see things clearly when it's happening because you get caught up in the situation. But you have to not get caught in the situation. You have to step back and try to see it for what it is. That way, it takes a little intelligence to step back from something instead of interacting always immediately. Sometimes you have to act immediately. Sometimes you have to step back and think. Sometimes you have to not act at all. Who can say? The situations are different. I'm giving you principles. I can't give you to tell you, well, you got to do this, you got to do that. That will never be the answer to your question. Because you may do this and do that, and it won't apply to the situation you're in.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. It was really very helpful.
You have to
I
understand,
understand.
life is not so easy to understand in terms of the complexity of material energy. Material energy is very complex. But it's understood through Shastra, through Guru, through experience.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
The overall statement you should keep in mind that whatever happens to you or what is happening to you or not happening to you, take it as an opportunity to turn it into a chance to advance in Krishna consciousness. That's the point. Something that is apparently negative, when seen from a different angle of vision, can turn into something very positive. Then you have to learn how to see things and deal with them. And if you can't do that, as we said previously to the same question, get help. Raj asked the same question. Just get help.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Getting out of material energy is not so easy. But if you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra always, you'll never be victimized by any situation. Can you do that? Chant always? 24/7? That's the formula for keeping away everything negative. And that's why it says, remember Krishna always. Any gap in remembering Krishna, then the mind is under the influence of another energy. The soul cannot forget Krishna, even for a millisecond, but the mind can interfere with the soul's connection with Krishna and create another scenario. So connect your mind with the words of Shastra and Guru. And then your mind will work favorably according to the desire of the soul. Okay, Amritanam, you got it? I'm answering all of your questions right now.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, totally.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Sridevi Mataji, you have any comments or questions?
Everything I'm saying is coming from Guru and Shastra. I'm not creating any ideas.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah.
Guru Maharaj, I have two things to humbly say. I think that when such situations happen, we become so bewildered and so confused and so distraught that we definitely need help, in the sense that we have to talk to our seniors, we have to talk to our mentors, our friends, and unburden ourselves, and then try to see what is Krishna trying to teach me. So it's not so, as you rightly said, it is not so simple, and there are no cut and dry answers or one size fits all answers. So I really want to say that our God family, we need to be there for each other more and more. Then we will be able to handle these situations without so much distress, understanding the background, understanding the Shastra, This is just my personal take after going through so many different things and still going through different things. That said, I
Yeah,
want
everything you said is correct, but initially call out to Krishna in those situations. Why wait to go out and look for help later on? Call out to Krishna. By calling out to Krishna, things automatically change. If you sincerely call.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, is the first thing, call out to Krishna.
Yeah, that's your immediate first response to these situations.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And I was actually, I raised my hand because of what Parijata said about how the Lord comes personally for his devotee. He's so personal, he's so loving. And I was remembering that story. I think you had told us about Birbal being teased by Emperor Akbar, saying, "What kind of God this is? Like he doesn't have anyone. Why does he come running for his devotee?" And then Birbal said, "Wait, I will explain that sometime." And then he arranged that his little son, Akbar's little son, he was playing around near the swimming pool and he hadn't fallen in, but he told all the guards and everybody to start shouting when the emperor was taking a walk in his garden that the prince has fallen in, the prince has fallen in, like that. Emperor Akbar took off like a shot. He jumped over the, flowered bushes and the fences and everything and came rushing to the pool to find his son is all right. He's saying, "What's going on over here?" The soldier said, "We just are obeying Birbal's orders." And then when Birbal came over there, he said, "My dear Emperor, you have all these lifeguards and soldiers and everyone. Why did you come running to save your son? They could have done the job." He said, "But that's my son." Saying the Lord feels the same way. That's why he comes running.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for sharing that. Did devotees any more questions or comments? Maharaj, we are almost at the mark of 1.5 hours. Is it okay to end or can we chant 1 or 2 rounds with you?
I guess. Okay, today I finished my rounds, but just to honor your request, I think we can chant. Wow.
Thank you so much.
Doesn't that the idea is to chant 24 hours, so this will be good. So keep going.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Such a wonderful class and nice discussion and so much in-depth answers which we have to think again and again.
Think
Register in
about
our mind.
this section of the Bhagavatam is really powerful.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, thank you so much. Tomorrow's class is with Harrisburg devotees. I don't have the verse number yet, but I'll message in the group soon. Maharaj, I'll message you too about the verse.
I just want to say that I'm feeling so inspired and so enthusiastic and so enlivened, Guru Maharaj, by your starting the class by telling us about Krishna really being there for the Pandavas and for the devotees. I just am feeling so happy.
Well, we should feel grateful to Krishna that he's doing what he's doing to his devotees. That's the first feeling. How wonderful is Krishna? How kind is Krishna? How loving is Krishna? How compassionate is Krishna? How much he's fixed on his devotees. That is the feeling that devotees get when they hear about how Krishna goes beyond normalcy in order to even cheat to save his devotees. He risks his reputation just to save his devotees.
Wonderful Krishna.
Yeah. Therefore, don't ever get to the point where you think Krishna's not helping you, he's not with you, he's always there. It's the clouds of Maya are covering you. You just have to dissipate those clouds by calling out to Krishna and remembering Krishna. That's all. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Hari 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 Ram Hari Ram Hari 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 Krishna Hari Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Krishna Hari Krishna Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Krishna Hari Krishna Hari 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 Ram Hari Krishna Hari Krishna 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 Hari 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 Ram Hari Krishna Hari Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare 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 Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj left the call. Anybody wants to take over, or shall we end the call?